let him pick whatever he wants. We do not care at all.
Yeah. Now, let's talk a little bit more on how draft works, right? Meta is by far the most efficient way of taking out a game, right? You have to pick the strongest heroes, you can pick blah, 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 blah. There is a reason why Fredrin is meta, right?
Yeah.
There's S tier, blah, 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 blah. But you must also understand that even though it's meta, there are different sort of metas. There are easy to use heroes meta, and there are extremely high skill cap heroes that are meta. Example, Fanny is one of them. Fredrin is actually considered one of them, not because of how hard it is to play the hero. It's finding opportunities, timings, and catches that is what makes it super hard. Because if you compare Fredrin with Cho, Cho has stronger catch potentials compared to Fredrin because of how mobile it is. And even then, you could see that GameLab, oftentimes, Dogman was struggling to find those perfect catches. So I feel like leaning on to metas that are really difficult to play or requires high skill level, why not just lean on something that's easier, such as like a Martis, which completely, I don't know why, nobody plays it. It's weird. It's so weird.
You've been a huge Martis advocate. I did, you know, just for our benefit, I also did some more research, went back home, played a couple of games, read up on Martis, and actually put it into practice. And I do understand why Martis is such a favorite hero for you. But I think at the same time, he does come with his limitations, right? We saw Martis perform yesterday. It was also one of those games where, yeah, I stay in the fight, but if I don't start getting that execution reset going, it becomes a big problem for my team where I don't have the damage. And I think that's something that most of these teams are worried about. GameLab though, switching it up with the 1-1, still have that Johnson ban coming through. Maybe we would see that Kufra in Phase 2, but for EVO, now they make some adjustments. The Joy out.
Yeah, the Joy's gotta go. Like, there was just too many meta picks being let off as well. EVO Esports, they were playing a little bit funny. They could have just drafted the Kufra from the get-go, but GameLab, they banned it off in the second phase, which kind of limited Xanri's capabilities of doing anything against Joy. Like, Joy was just running out of control. I think they played a pretty solid composition of GameLab for sure. Kaja being banned, pretty no-brainer, but now opening first pick EVO Esports, do they still stick with the Fredrin? Personally, not a big fan of it.
I guess it's kind of
no way.
They go for that was the hero that they banned just now, right? The first hero they banned was Moskov. I just wanted to say, like, yeah, Kufra is a good shot, but it's always feels bad when you have to blind pick a Kufra in Phase 1. So maybe that's why EVO didn't go for it. But there you go. We don't get Martis, but we get your Kadita finally making it through. Glue also comes through from GameLab. Big concern for Moskov right now.
No, okay. Personally, I'm a little bit surprised by this first pick, Moskov. Like, it feels like EVO Esports and GameLab has played each other before in the past, and that's why they have some sort of memories of each other's playstyle. But I think Moskov going up against Glue isn't that great, to be honest. But I don't know, we shall see.
I'm more worried about, you know, this Kadita pick on the side of GameLab, right? Because unless you're doubling down like EVO, who decides to go for Fredrin and a Julian, we're getting an interesting approach from EVO. This is what they kind of pulled out in Game 2, complete switch up of the draft. But I want to get into like how is this looking right now?
Julian is one of the most broken heroes prior to this current patch, right? It's just, you can play jungle, you can play XP, you can play mid lane, whatever, you know, it's just that broken. But in current patch, it has nerfed to a point that it's so difficult. And I've talked about how when it comes to meta heroes, right, Julian is not just not super strong, it's strong still, but it's so very difficult to execute those kind of big setups and ultimates, etc. And in this case, the only other player that I've seen on the world stage that has been able to demonstrate a freakingly godly Julian is Justin from Falcon Esports. And currently nobody has been able to replicate despite the multiple nerfs. So I'm not exactly sure what's going through EVO Esports' mind, but I think they might lean on the jungle Julian rather than the Fredrin, considering how Your Name was struggling in Game 1. But I might be wrong. It's a great setup for it's a great way to deal with the glue split space to a certain degree, but I don't think that's enough damage, to be honest.
I agree. The question also is, who do you catch? You don't want to commit on a glue. Kadita isn't the easiest to catch, and then now you have an Alice, which is going to most likely go into the jungle again for GameLab. They are not shy to reveal this one because they are just so confident with it in the front line. And also right now, if you have Julian and Fredrin who wants to go in front, who's going to protect the backline? That was a problem that EVO Esports struggled yesterday when they played their series.
This is indeed a very difficult one to be in as well. Atlas also being banned from GameLab, knowing that they are looking for this wombo combo strategy. GameLab, they may consider going for it again. They've got the Atlas jungle pretty much showed their hand as well. They're going for the Kadita for the mid-lane mage. They've got a decent amount of magical power damage. So physical-wise, I think there's a lot. They can still go for the Beatrix. They can go for a Cho tank if they want to. They can flex the glue into XP as well, which is something that I think GameLab might be leaning on towards that direction. But I think EVO Esports right now, their biggest threat right now is that how do they out-sustain GameLab in terms of sustainability, have enough damage to burn through this. If you think about it, I talked about this as well, Carry would have been an amazing marksman to just chunk through all this 10 HPs or max HP percentage. Moskov doesn't do jack shit. I'm sorry to say, it doesn't do anything. Maybe against a split, sure. Not a... But they need to find a way to set up for this Moskov stun. Grok isn't too bad for EVO Esports. If they go for it, it's great. If they don't, I think going for Matilda is terrible in this composition. They need some way to re-engage this fight. So having the Zarya and Mage means that they are potentially doubling down on, oh yeah, Julian XP instead of
What if I was want to say Grok? Like I want to echo that, right?
I think Grok would
it
fit
is
Rome role right now for EVO Esports.
It's a decent option. Honestly, we had this. We went through this yesterday talking about how Carry is one of the best blind pick marksmen, and yet we don't see it often enough. It's
weird.
it is weird. Melissa for GameLab, the final pick. Definitely not double Xavier. We will find out who the Zanri go for EVO. But it is safe to say that GameLab again just came up with another solid draft, and EVO decides to completely forego what they did in Game 1 and try to switch it up for this one.
I wouldn't be able to say what GameLab has one of the strongest compositions, but they do have a pretty balanced one as of now. I'm still not convinced with the Atlas jungle, but seeing how Game 1 went, it might be a problem for EVO Esports. So hopefully this solution, which is not the double savior, of course, is going to be the ideal way to actually deal with it. So we're going to be jumping straight into game number 2 very, very shortly. I want to see what kind of drafts they are going to be bringing to the table, and that is going to be what excites me. That's the beauty about esports. That's the beauty about playing a competition. You don't know what we're expecting. We can predict the drafts for you guys. You guys predict what you guys want to see. But without further ado, we're jumping straight into game number 2. This is going to be EVO Esports going up against GameLab, with GameLab currently 1 game ahead.
Selena for Zanri.
Oh.
Does this change anything for EVO?
High risk, high reward composition coming from EVO. Like, if they get the perfect arrow, that's a complete snipe down for regardless of whatever hero GameLab brings to the table. If it doesn't happen, absolutely not.
Yeah, I think this is just EVO saying that we're going to try and play fast, right? We are not going to give you space. Zanri will kind of do the honor. Running aside your name, you have this Selena Julian, and it just absolute burst. They do have the setup, you know, with Flash One on this Xavier. Now the question is, how far and how fast can they do this? ALVA found her both in the river, her both able to get away with a slither of health. Dokman there to provide a bit of backup. Early scuffle in EVO's favor.
This is difficult to see how this is happening here, but I'm glad the EVO Esports is finally taking the initiation, which they should be with the Selena arrows. But GameLab, they definitely need to play this a little bit slower here, considering that they need a little bit more ultimates coming in here. The first turtle engagement is going to be very important for them. They need to be the ones very aware Zanri is, but Takanaga, he might actually die to this, and yes, he will. That's going to be a complete takedown here. Zanri will gladly sacrifice his life for this, and this is huge because that completely changes the dynamic on what GameLab was trying to do, similar to how Game 1 went.
Yeah, and just, you know, unlike Game 1, EVO actually has damage for those early game fights. You no longer have to worry about, oh, we can't take down this Alice in time. There's a problem with the glue. There is more than enough burst. And that means that Dokman can just casually walk in. You can just die in a full combo. Zanri is around. Yorni is starting up the turtle. And ALVA is going to hit 4 from that passive XP gain as well. EVO Esports in a better position to deal with GameLab. As long as ALVA is alive, he's going to get kicked back though. Cannot even use his skills, but they get a double knockout for your name. Dokman, not like this. Sniped down by the Dawning Light. Herbo trying to get away with a split, decides to stick onto your name and bring him back into Zanri's face as well. Maybe Herbo can get something out of this one. Has to detach himself and now finds himself trapped between 3 members of EVO, and that means it will be kill number 2 going over to Flash One.
Nicely done coming from EVO Esports, but as soon as I say this, they do have the solution now. But interesting enough, now the turtle still going in the hands of the game despite the skirmishes coming from EVO Esports, but never did I thought that they are going to be taking... Oh, hold that thought for now. Oper going to be forcing a fight as well. Here comes the dotting line. Actually enough to snipe down Takanega. But now, with the Ocean's Odyssey coming in, Ocean's Breath coming in from Aizawa, almost taking out the remaining members of EVO Esports, they somehow trade 50-50s here.
They still want Opper's hit. Dortmund looking for an opening. Has the flash, has his roundhouse kick. The taunt actually buys a bit of time, but Dortmund still finds the kick, and with Verbose by his side, they get the kill onto Opper.
Yeah, that's crazy coming from GameLab trying to make that attempt. However, interesting enough, I did not expect EVO Esports to actually take advantage of how the split is going to be able to extend the blades coming in from Xavier. And it's actually helping them because that's doing so much damage, and it actually helps Flash One to be in a position where he can just dish out damage from a relatively safe distance, knowing that every single time Glue is going to be running in your face. So, interesting enough, hopefully he finds those right angles, but EVO Esports definitely feeling a little bit more comfortable compared to game number 1. Julian Jungle is definitely making works for them. However, Corrosion side purchase coming in from UTZ, not even having the choose available. So he's going to be sitting in the goal lane for quite a number of time. Meanwhile, mid lane, they get a nice catch coming by Aizawa's Petrify. So feels bad for your name, nothing you can do about it.
Yep, and Habong just casually walks by that mid lane. Now they take control of the top river. There is still plenty of time for your name to respawn, kind of set up for the turtle fight, but Dortmund, he is very, very deep. He knows that EVO Esports aren't going to show themselves unless they have the full squad. This is a big problem. At least if you are in business position, it is so oppressive from GameLab side.
Yeah, and as of yet, Takanaga could be farming his way through, building up stacks, is mirroring Opera to a degree, but it's not exactly the right target. This is a jungle versus XP lane. Meanwhile, top lane, they get a jump onto his Biston. The kick comes in, they're overextending. But the burst comes in from Aizawa. It's going to be enough to take him down. Flash One tries to do all he can. Her boss there does have the split spin. Is it going to connect? No, he does not. Your name locks it in place. And that is going to be EVO Esports with the defense coming in.
Yep, very important kill on this Glue. That is going to at least draw out this turtle. GameLab can't go on it without her box around. EVO Esports also get a slight reset as Biston just respawned, but GameLab, they're going to do what they have done before. Onto the turtle they go. So far, they've claimed all the turtles in Game 1, and they've claimed the first 2 in Game 2 as well. EVO Esports just could not win objective fights.
Interesting. Now, EVO, they're going to try and take down the tier 1 down middle, which is kind of risky. They have Takanega available, but the Xavier stuns are kind of kick in as well. It's going to do some significant amount of damage. This tier 1 is pretty much a lost cause. Not worth it, but they're throwing bodies for this Dogman. Might actually get bursted down. Appraiser Raft doesn't connect, but Xandri overcommits it, but they eventually get the kill. However, no, they did not. On the top side, they actually picked up Biston instead. So GameLab, they were shifting their focus down middle lane, but they actually lost their member up top. It was all a bait. EVO Esports completely not knowing what's happening in terms of a top lane.
Yeah, they can't. The 2 members of GameLab walked away with minimal health. They lost 2 tier 1 towers in the side lane, and they lost Biston for the 2nd time in this game. I mean, GameLab is just punishing EVO Esports for any maneuver. Dortmund just so far forward, forcing the flicker out of Opera as well. And as for Dortmund, he still has that Way of the Dragon, and GameLab now looks for that mid-tier 1. You have her boss and Dortmund just posturing around that left side of the jungle. Dotting line used already. Her ball, he's just going to go in with the split. Dortmund putting his body in front, looking for an angle to get the kick. They lock him down, but the tier 1 is gone.
Yeah, this is definitely very, very difficult situation to be in as well. But GameLab, they've got full control, they've got economy, but this time they are going to try and contest the purple buffer as well. They're sending Opera in. He's going to sacrifice his life for absolutely nothing. Xandri trying to go for the arrow. Big Dotting Line comes in, but they just don't have to follow up. Takanaga just a little bit too annoying to handle in terms of sustainabilities. Aizawa sitting in the bush waiting for a perfect bait. And I think EVO, they know something is up. And Aizawa has not shown his face yet. And they know if they go in, that is going to be the perfect trap coming in. They need to figure out how to deal with this Kadita as of yet. But as soon as I say it, now you see me, now you don't. Goodbye, your name.
Top tier 2 down, UTZ making quick work of that, and Turtle spawns. Middle lane also shoved in. I mean, GameLab, just great macro play at this point. There's no space for EVO Esports to work around, and we're seeing the same problem with this Fredrin. He can't get his spells off, and if he can't get his spells off, he doesn't do anything, and Biston once more just I mean, you're in a situation where 2 tanks are killing you in the lane. Just absolute brutality.
That's the power of Glue, man. He just does so much damage. The first combo, first and second skill is a lot of damage. Paired up with the ultimate and the first second skill, that's pretty much 70% HP gone from a full combo. So it feels bad for him. There's nothing he can do. He traded objectives for EVO Esports, but for how long can he trade his life for it? Because eventually he needs to be dishing out damage against all these players. In this case, GameLab getting control of the Lord once again. The arrow connects from the boss, but at the same time, this is a Glue we're talking about. Instead, he can turn the tides. Dogman trying to go for the setup as well, but this huge wall of tanks right in front of the face is EVO Esports just cannot do anything about this at all.
If Biston can't get going as the Moskov, they don't have damage to kill the tanks. I mean, you have 3 magical damage dealers from EVO Esports, 1 Radiant Armor or Athena is going to solve that problem. Havos is completely comfortable in this game right now. As long as Biston is shut down like that, I mean, GameLab, they are looking to close it out 2-0.
Look at this, Aizawa setting up for a big ambush. He goes for the right place as well. Flash 1, going for the Petroid, goes for out, but no! Misses the angle, a little bit too far off. He's gonna back off. However, EVO Esports, they should not extend this lane upper here. Taking a little bit too much arrow. Arrow doesn't seem to connect, so that's not going to be in the re-engagement coming from EVO Esports. As the Lord is going to be pushing from the top side. EVO now needs to figure a way on how to stabilize the GameLab. Going to push the lead as they try to take the tier 2 down middle. Opera needs to make a run for it as well, but the kick all the way from the back, he still catches him as well. It was a distraction. Flash 1 did not expect that. Dogman from out of downtown pounds him out back to his base, and he's gone. And now with the stick coming in, tier 3 is being exposed as well. GameLab, they're overextending a little bit too much. However, they're getting away without being punished for these fights.
Yeah, the Lord has just arrived. All inhibitor turrets are going to go down simultaneously. At this point, Zanri just could not find the Abyssal Arrow up again. He's using his health bar as a buffer, but that base infiltrated. I mean, GameLab for the past 2 minutes have kept EVO Esports in the base. That Kadita is godlike, and EVO still cannot get any sort of trade. Only 1 inhibitor turret left, and that one just a sliver of health. They go on to the Kadita Tagenaga, but he goes invulnerable. They cannot kill anyone. This is just an absolute brutal game. Finally, Dogman falls, but the price is heavy. Habox, he has something else to say. Latches onto Opper, and now he is so far deep in, gives his life up. But Terrence, look at that base. It is in absolute shambles.
Yeah, that was a very, very difficult defense coming from EVO Esports. However, you know, they were able to punish Havos because of the combos coming from Glue, right? Like I told you about, if you go for the first skill, you latch on somebody, the moment you drop the first skill, you need to flicker out, because there's no way in time that Havos, you can actually, I would say, physically be able to pull it back if you had timed those flickers properly. And because of that, he's pretty much left stranded, allow EVO Esports to get a free kill on that. But as of yet, even if they got the free kill, let's take a look at the items real quick on how far Biston is behind. He's got a corrosion scythe, he's not even gotten his DHs yet, which is gonna be a long way. He's got the golden staff instead. So this is gonna be a very, very difficult one to actually bounce back, especially when he's so much like, okay, he just got it, but I still think he needs at least a Malefic Roar.
Yeah, I mean, this game is fast-tracked by GameLab. Oh no, Biston.
No. He's not going to get his Malefic Roar anytime soon. Yeah, goodbye, my friend, goodbye.
The game is not going to last long enough for that to happen at this point. I mean, Oppa lashed on, pulled back, 3 members of GameLab on him, and this is another dead Fredrin. It is not working out this series for EVO Esports. They play so brave, only buying a bit of time. While that was happening, Lord has been taken. GameLab now has to defend the base, potentially 4v5.
Yep, at the same time, bottom lane as well. Your name in a very, very awkward position. Yuktizi is going to get a couple kills. The arrow comes in. Zanri looking for the one shot, but the Dawning Light will be enough to snipe him down. However, Zanri, awkward position. He doesn't have the spells. He's pretty much stranded, and he's going to get picked off as well. As you can see, great stuns coming from Biston at the edge as well. He can potentially get the kill off this, and he needs to force a fight, but the Winter Trucker latches on him. But the Dawning Light, the true carry of the team, is going to be Flash 1. He almost got the kill on Document, but he was able to prolong this fight. But at the same time, the Lord is knocking in. Xbox is going to try and drop bodies as well. Biston trying to clear off the minions, but that's a huge one as well. They're buying a little more time, but the Dawning Light will do significant amount of damage to scare off GameLab. And however, with this play, with this defense, the Xavier is finally online, and GameLab has to respect the power of the Xavier now.
Yeah, and Biston, huge cash out Would have been better if he actually got the kills, but those kills went over to Flash 1. Nonetheless, they had that wave clear across the passive from this Moskov, also helping up a little bit. Another 2 long minutes for EVO Esports to just hold on. You can't even walk up out into the map. You can't even cross that threshold of that mid-river. That is the problem that they have to fix. You can't defend forever. And I just realized all tier 2 still stand for GameLab.
Yeah, this is literally go time for EVO Esports because the Xavier is one of the strongest late game mages in late game here as well. He's got his Divine Glaive. I was expecting him to go for a glowing one, but it seems like he just swapped it out for a potential immortality, which is weird. His final item was glowing one, would have done way much more damage, but as of yet, seems like survivability is going to be the key. However, GameLab, they're still progressing even further as well. They have to start to build magic resist, which unfortunately, none of them have enough Radiant Armors or even an Oracle to try to survive this. I was expecting maybe an Oracle pickup coming from Voss, but seems like he's going to try and go for Immortality as well because we are going to be hitting the 15-minute mark threshold soon. And that is where it's going to be go time because the next Lord is the most important one for EVO Esports. They need to find one pickoff before they can actually push out because if they voluntarily give up this Lord, it's over for them.
Malefic Roar for Biston. Very,
huge.
very nice. Now that Moskov has finally come online, even then, even with those items and Inspire, it is still going to take a monumental effort. Aizawa, 9-0-2 on this Kadita. Absolutely untouched in this game so far. The question is not when is the Lord spawning, is if EVO Esports can even contest this one.
Yeah, this is going to be a difficult one as well, but his final item from Biston is probably going to be the Haas Claw, but you can see GameLab is just choking them and starving them. They're waiting for the right moment to jump on them, and one wrong move can be the end of EVO Esports' journey in the upper brackets. Meanwhile, Malefic Roar is up on UTZ as well. Aizawa looking for the pickoff. He's trying to bait reactions and seems like he is going to be able to use his ultimate as well. Opera looking for the taunt, but the Petrify will keep him alive. EVO Esports pretty happy about this. They bait out massive ultimates for Aizawa. One of the biggest threat from GameLab has been neutralized for this upcoming fight, and this is actually huge for EVO Esports.
But the Lord was taken by GameLab.
Unfortunate.
In a flash.
That was fast.
It was so fast. I mean, what, Melissa plus Alice...
Jungle Alice.
Jungle
I did not
Alice.
expect it at all. That was just so fast. It was just a bait. It was a distraction.
To be fair,
it was bad.
UTZ got his Malefic Roar right before that Lord. It was the perfect timing. But this is the final defense. Lord hasn't spawned just yet, but whoa, Takenaga already in. A lot of damage.
Arrow,
Watch out, that arrow! Downtown snipe from Zanri. 4 versus 5. EVO Esports, they have the numbers.
Yeah, this is huge for EVO Esports, but can they defend against the horde of minions coming in as they are throwing bodies for this as well? Here comes the kick. They focus on towards Opper, but he's got the immortality. Eventually, they take him down. The Melissa still stands, but eventually now the Lord is going to be focused down as well. Coming in from Biston. They wipe it before as well. UTZ is going to be the next to fall, and this is going to be the comeback that we have been eyeing for. EVO Esports now on the front seat. They're fighting back. Havas now running for his life, surviving, dodges with the arrow, but can he run away because the rest of the teams are coming here? But no, you cannot run away from the dawning light, and that's going to be EVO Esports going for the push. They get the kills. They get the fight. They've got vision control. And now GameLab is going to be on the backseat. EVO Esports looking to bounce back, and this might be it. This might be the greatest comeback so far.
I mean, you have to keep believing. Late game, EVO online. I mean, the Inspire Moskov. This guy is machine gun Biston right now. Takenaga, you cannot do those dives anymore. Dortmund also had to expend his flicker, his ult, his kick, and the immortality. Got absolutely nothing. He only traded, I believe, for an upper immortality and his death, but he lost but they lost the entire fight. Lord, 70 seconds. GameLab have learned that lesson the hard way. Good news is, inhibitor turret, they still stand. They can still keep EVO Esports in the base. But now they have to try and break through that defense. They gotta catch Biston.
Yeah, this is not good for either Biston or for GameLab right now. The biggest threat here is Flash One as well as Biston, and as of yet, they finally reached the ultra later stage game. And this is EVO Esports' respawn. If you make one wrong move once again, we will take you out. In this case, not going for the Haskell is going to be Biston. He's got the winds of nature. UTZ finally purchasing the Athena shield, knowing how annoying Flash One is in all these team fights, and he needs to be able to find some way to sustain all this fight. So he sold all his shoes, going for Athena shield. No Haskell available for UTZ, so that's gonna be a little bit of a problem later on as he tries to sustain this fight. But map control still in favor of GameLab, while EVO Esports is he's gonna try and punish Takanaga later on.
Yeah, you can see the position. GameLab just keeping EVO Esports away. Once more, Takanaga and UTZ already at the Lord pit. So this is another Lord for GameLab for sure. EVO Esports, they need to continue mounting this defense. Those respawn timers are going to get longer and longer. One more good defense and we will start to see inhibitor turrets fall. But before then, I mean, GameLab, they still have a pretty firm grip on this game.
Oh, this is going to be a difficult one indeed, but the Lord is coming in. EVO Esports, no response. They're splitting their forces down bottom and trying to snipe a couple of players. Unfortunately, they're forced to recall back. GameLab might look to try and threaten the bases as well. I can see that Dogman is just trying to clear off all the boosts, denying all the map control, or in this case, vision control from the Selena traps. Unfortunately, he's not going to be able to find anyone on the outside so far. As EVO Esports now, oh my goodness, amount of damage. But Dawning Light almost sniping Aizawa. However, he's got his passive ability. He's going to be A-okay. He still has his Petrify. But with the Dawning Light now on cooldown, GameLab can make another attempt. And this time, Boss goes in first. He goes for a two-man stun, but he's taking a little bit too much damage. But they found Piston. They got the catch. And now EVO Esports, they are going to be on the backseat as well. GameLab looking for this opportunity to focus on the Crystal. They're bowing down. UTZ is there, but Dangwon still survives it all. But no, the damage coming from EVO Esports is a little bit too much. The Crystal getting thrown as well. GameLab, they're throwing bodies. And they will eventually take the Crystal. And they clean out 2-0.
Dogman once more game-winning kick. I mean, he somehow found